Welcome to Build Strong Habits podcast channel. This is an audio podcast, so take your eyes off the screen, sit back, relax, and listen.
All right, so get this. We're going to take a deep dive into something that's both exciting and kind of scary.
Oh, yeah.
It's that crazy mix of emotions that comes with success.
Interesting.
We're going to be looking at Laura Gassner Otting's work,
Yeah.
her book and her TED Talks.
Cool.
To understand this whole thing she calls wonder hell.
Mm.
Ever notice how hitting a big goal can feel like a
what?
good news, bad news kind of thing?
Yeah.
You reach that milestone, you're on top of the world for a minute, and then
I'm a what?
bam, you're suddenly slammed with this pressure to do even more.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling.
So let's figure out why that happens.
Okay.
I mean, it's weird, right?
It is.
We're basically taught that success means happiness.
Like it's that simple.
Right, like a done deal.
Uh-huh.
But Otting's research,
Yeah.
which comes from talking to tons of successful people,
Yeah.
shows that things are way more complicated.
It's definitely not that straightforward.
Yeah.
It's like success equals happiness, but then there's all this other stuff mixed in.
Yeah. It's definitely not just get what you want and live happily ever after, right?
Right.
Think about it. Landing your dream job.
Yeah.
Launching that project you've always wanted to do.
Mm.
Finally getting that promotion.
Okay.
You ride that wave of excitement for a bit. And then...
Then what happens?
What?
Then you might find yourself right smack in the middle of wonder hell.
Wonder hell.
Yep.
Wow. Even the name is kind of intense.
I know, right? It really grabs you.
So can you break it down for me?
Break what down?
What does being in wonder hell actually feel like?
Okay, so think about this. It's like carrying the weight of all the amazing things you could do.
Oh, I see.
Once you've had a taste of success, you automatically expect to keep pushing.
To do even more.
Yeah, to achieve bigger and better things.
Yeah.
It's like you've glimpsed what you're capable of, so suddenly everything feels more important.
Yeah, the stakes are higher.
Exactly. You're excited about what's next, but there's this nagging feeling.
Like you're not good enough.
Yeah, like can you actually live up to this new version of yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And to top it off, you're probably exhausted from always trying to reach the next level.
Totally. It reminds me of that story Otting tells in her TED Talk
Oh, yeah.
about what happened after she launched her book.
I remember that.
She talks about how thrilling it was to see her work out in the world,
Right.
but also how completely drained she felt from the constant demands and the pressure to keep things going.
It's the perfect example of how wonder hell can sneak up on you. Achieving something big often shifts things inside us.
How so?
We start to see ourselves differently, picturing this future where we're even more accomplished.
Like a better version of ourselves.
Exactly. And that vision can be really motivating, but it
Mhm.
can also make you feel totally overwhelmed.
It's like you've opened a door to a whole new reality,
Yeah.
and going back feels impossible.
It does. It's like
Yeah.
there's no turning back.
She makes a similar point when she talks about people who are up for promotions.
Oh, right. The internal candidate?
Yes. They go through the interviews. They start picturing themselves in that new role.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they don't get it.
It's tough to go back.
Exactly. It's like they've already seen a different future for themselves.
Absolutely. And that's when all those familiar feelings come creeping in. You know,
What?
imposter syndrome, self-doubt, that feeling of being exposed. But here's the thing. Otting says that instead of seeing these feelings as holding us back, we should think of them as opportunities.
Wait, so you're saying we should actually embrace feelings of doubt and insecurity?
Well, yeah, kind of. It might sound crazy, but those emotions are actually giving us valuable information.
You mean they're not all bad?
Right.
Yeah.
We're telling us that we're stretching and growing and stepping outside our comfort zone.
So we should be listening to them.
Yeah, instead of seeing them as roadblocks, we should see them as chances to learn and reflect.
So instead of trying to shut down that inner critic, we should listen to it and try to understand what it's telling us.
Exactly.
Okay, I get that. But how do we actually do that? How do we take those negative feelings and turn them into something positive?
Well, Otting has some really practical advice. One thing she suggests is changing the way we talk to ourselves.
How so?
Like instead of saying, I've never done this before, with this fear in your voice,
Right.
we can say it like, this is my chance to learn something new.
Oh, I see.
Embrace the challenge and get excited about it instead of letting it freeze you up.
So it's about changing that inner critic into a supportive coach.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how that shift in thinking can make a big difference.
That's powerful.
But let's be real here. Dealing with those feelings of doubt and anxiety, especially after you've achieved something big,
It's hard.
it's really tough.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that wonder hell isn't like a one-time obstacle that you overcome and then you're done.
Mm.
It keeps coming back.
Oh, so it's not a one and done.
Nope. Every time you achieve something significant, those feelings might pop up again.
So how do we deal with that?
Well, the good news is that with each cycle, you gain more experience and you get to know yourself better.
Because it's like leveling up in a video game.
Yeah, you face harder challenges.
But you've got more skills and experience to deal with them.
Exactly. You're getting better at handling that emotional roller coaster that comes with success. And that brings us to a really important point about how we define success in the first place.
Okay, what do you mean?
Maybe the problem isn't the feeling of wonder hell itself, but the way we see success as an endpoint.
Like reaching the finish line.
Yes, like that's it, you've made it.
You're right. If we're always focused on the next big thing, no wonder we never feel truly satisfied.
Exactly. It's like chasing a target that keeps moving.
So how do we break free from that cycle?
Otting has a really interesting suggestion. She says we should try to see success not as a destination, but as a waypoint.
A waypoint.
Yeah, think of it as a marker along a much longer journey.
Okay, I like that.
This subtle change in thinking can be incredibly freeing because it allows you to appreciate how far you've come while also acknowledging that there's always more to learn and experience.
I'm really digging this idea of success as a journey, not a destination.
It takes the pressure off needing to arrive somewhere.
It does. But even with this new perspective, those wonder hell feelings, the doubt, the pressure, the exhaustion, they can still be pretty intense.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do we make sure wonder hell doesn't turn into just, well, hell?
Right. How do we hold on to that sense of wonder even when things get tough?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And that's where Otting's insights become truly invaluable.
They really are.
It's about recognizing that wonder hell, with all its ups and downs, is actually a sign that you're on the right track.
Means you're challenging yourself, evolving, and reaching for your full potential.
So it's not about avoiding those uncomfortable feelings altogether, but finding a way to navigate them in a way that fuels our growth.
Precisely.
Yeah.
What if we reframed those feelings of self-doubt, uncertainty, and even exhaustion as indicators that we're on the path to something extraordinary?
Instead of signs of weakness.
Yes, they're signs of courage. The courage to step outside your comfort zone and strive for something more.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. Instead of seeing these emotions as enemies, we can view them as guides pointing us towards the things that truly matter.
Exactly. And the more we lean into those feelings with curiosity rather than judgment, the more we learn about ourselves,
We discover our resilience.
our capacity to overcome challenges.
And we build incredibly valuable skills like self-awareness and emotional intelligence.
It sounds like it's less about becoming immune to those feelings and more about becoming more adept at surfing those waves.
Yes, it's about cultivating mental and emotional agility. You learn to ride the waves of wonder hell knowing they're a natural part of the journey, not a sign that you veered off course. This all makes me think about the difference between simply checking off a goal on your list and truly embracing the journey of getting there.
It's a big difference.
It seems like wonder hell is all about that messy, sometimes uncomfortable, but ultimately transformative process.
It's about recognizing that the real growth happens along the way, not just at the finish line. It's about finding fulfillment in the process itself. The challenges, the setbacks, the small wins, and the big breakthroughs.
And maybe that's how we keep that sense of wonder alive, right? By shifting our focus to appreciating the entire journey, not just the peaks of achievement. But how do we actually do that? When you're in the thick of it, those negative feelings can be so overwhelming.
You're absolutely right. It takes a conscious effort to shift your perspective. Otting suggests a few strategies that can be incredibly helpful. One is to start by simply acknowledging the feeling. Instead of trying to push it away, say to yourself, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now. That's understandable given what I'm taking on.
It's almost like giving yourself permission to feel those emotions without judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you've acknowledged the feeling, try to get curious about it. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What do I need to learn or adjust in order to move forward?
So instead of letting those negative feelings control us, we can use them as information, almost like a compass guiding us.
That's a great analogy. It's about tapping into that inner wisdom and using it to navigate those challenging emotions. And that brings us to another practical tip, finding a support system.
Ah, yes, the power of community. It's so much easier to weather the storms when you have people you trust to lean on. But what if your support system doesn't quite understand what you're going through, especially those wonder hell feelings?
That's a valid concern, and it highlights the importance of finding your tribe. Look for communities or mentors who have navigated similar challenges. They can offer support, encouragement, and valuable insights based on their own experiences.
That makes me think of another point. Otting emphasizes celebrating small wins. When we're always focused on the big, ambitious goals, it's easy to overlook the progress we're making along the way.
Absolutely. Celebrating those small victories is crucial for maintaining momentum and keeping your spirits high. It reinforces the idea that you're moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like giant leaps.
It's like those little bursts of positive reinforcement that keep you going when things get tough. But speaking of tough, sometimes Wonder Hell can feel like a constant uphill battle. How do we stay resilient in the face of setbacks and avoid burning out completely?
That's where self-care becomes non-negotiable. It's easy to neglect your well-being when you're striving for success, but taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally is essential for navigating Wonder Hell sustainably.
That's a great reminder. It's not selfish to prioritize self-care, it's actually an investment in your ability to keep going. Are there any specific self-care practices that you find particularly helpful during those intense Wonder Hell phases?
It really depends on the individual,
Mm.
but some practices that can be incredibly beneficial include mindfulness or meditation, spending time in nature, engaging in activities that bring you joy, and setting healthy boundaries to protect your time and energy.
These are all great reminders. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the doing that we forget about the being.
Exactly. Yeah. And finding that balance is key to navigating Wonder Hell successfully. It's about honoring your ambition and drive while also prioritizing your well-being and mental health.
This has been so insightful. I'm starting to see Wonder Hell not as something to fear, but as a natural part of the growth process. It's like those growing pains you experience as a kid. They're uncomfortable in the moment, but they ultimately mean you're getting bigger and stronger.
That's a wonderful way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And just like those growing pains eventually subside, the intensity of Wonder Hell also tends to ebb and flow. There will be moments of exhilaration, and there will be times when you feel overwhelmed. The key is to embrace the full spectrum of the experience, knowing that it's all part of the journey.
It's like we're learning a new dance, and Wonder Hell is part of the choreography. It might feel awkward at first, but as we practice and get more comfortable with the steps, it becomes more fluid and even graceful.
I love that analogy. It captures the essence of what we've been talking about, learning to move with the challenges rather than resisting them.
This makes me think about how we often talk about finding our purpose. But maybe it's not so much about finding it as it is about cultivating it, nurturing it through those moments of Wonder Hell.
That's beautifully said. Purpose isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you actively create through your choices, your actions, and your willingness to embrace the full spectrum of the human experience, including the messy and uncomfortable parts.
So embracing Wonder Hell is about embracing a more holistic view of success, one that encompasses the highs and lows, the triumphs and setbacks, and the constant learning and growth that happens along the way.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that true success isn't just about external achievements.
It's about who you become in the process.
Right, the lessons you learn, the resilience you build, the impact you make on the world. Those are the true markers of success.
I love that. It shifts the focus from what we achieve to who we become.
And that brings us to a crucial question for our listeners. If we know that Wonder Hell is a natural part of growth and success,
How can we prepare ourselves to not just survive it, but actually thrive in those moments?
that's the question I hope everyone listening is asking themselves right now. It all starts with a shift in perspective.
How so?
Instead of being afraid of those uncomfortable feelings, what if we could see them as,
Like clues.
like valuable data points or signposts that are showing us the way to our potential?
So instead of trying to run away from those feelings of doubt and uncertainty, we can actually choose to lean into them.
To listen to what they're trying to teach us.
Right.
Exactly.
Well-
It's about asking yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What changes do I need to make? What can I learn from this experience?
It's about using those feelings to learn and grow.
Right. That's where the real magic of Wonder Hell happens. In those moments of discomfort and self-doubt.
That's when we find our strength.
Yes. We discover our true strength and resilience and our ability to grow.
It sounds like navigating Wonder Hell is about having a strong internal compass.
What do you mean?
One that can guide us through those tough emotions and help us stay focused on what's important to us.
It's about trusting your gut.
Yeah.
That ability to know what really matters, what's worth fighting for, and what we need to let go of. It's a journey of self-discovery and transformation.
And it's not always easy.
No, but it has the potential to lead to some amazing personal and professional growth.
This has been such an inspiring conversation.
Glad you think so.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on success.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually excited to embrace the challenges that come with it.
That's great.
Because I know now that those challenges can help me grow in amazing ways.
It's been awesome exploring these ideas with you. It's a good reminder that even when things are uncertain and uncomfortable, there's always hope and growth and the chance to create a life that really means something.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Wonder Hell,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what really stuck with you. What insights from Otting's work stood out the most?
I think for me, it's the idea of reframing those negative emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing them as invitations instead of limitations. It's easy to get trapped in self-doubt and fear. But what if we could actually see those feelings as signs that we're on the right track, pushing ourselves to grow?
I totally get that. It completely changes the game, and it connects really well with the idea of shifting how we view success.
How so?
From seeing it as a finish line to seeing it as an ongoing journey.
Absolutely. It's about understanding that Wonder Hell isn't just a one-time thing you get over. It's a constant cycle of growth and expansion.
And every time we go through it,
We come out stronger.
we become more resilient and we understand ourselves better.
Exactly.
So to everyone listening out there, how will you approach your next big goal differently? How will you use the power of Wonder Hell?
That's the question I want our listeners to think about.
What can they do?
How can they reframe those negative emotions, embrace the journey, and really step into their full potential, knowing that Wonder Hell isn't something to be afraid of?
It's opportunity.
It is. It's a chance for amazing growth.
That's a perfect way to wrap things up.
It is.
So until next time,
Keep learning.
keep exploring, and remember, embrace the Wonder Hell.
It's been great talking to you. Until next time, it's been awesome talking to you about this.
Yeah, this has been a really insightful look at Wonder Hell.
I agree.
It's made me realize that it's not something to be scared of, but rather a sign that we're on the right track.
It's like a signal that you're pushing yourself to grow and evolve.
Exactly. And the more we can embrace those uncomfortable feelings and learn from them, the more we can actually thrive in those moments.
That's so important.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people try to avoid those feelings altogether.
Like they're bad or wrong.
Right. But what if we could shift our perspective and see them as opportunities?
Opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. Instead of thinking, oh no, I'm feeling self-doubt, this is terrible,
Eh.
we can say, okay, what can I learn from this feeling? How can I use it to move forward?
It's about turning those negative emotions into fuel for growth.
I love that analogy. It's like taking those challenging emotions and turning them into something that actually propels you forward.
And you know what else I think is so important?
What's that?
It's remembering that Wonder Hell isn't a one-time thing.
Right. It's not like you conquer it once and then you're done.
It's an ongoing process, a cycle that we'll probably experience many times throughout our lives.
And that's okay. It's
Okay.
actually a good thing because it means we're continuing to grow and evolve.
So the key is to develop the tools and strategies to navigate those Wonder Hell moments effectively.
To learn how to ride the waves and come out stronger on the other side.
This deep dive has given me so much to think about,
You too.
and I hope it's done the same for our listeners.
I hope so too.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that success isn't just about reaching a destination.
It's about the journey.
It's about the person you become along the way, the challenges you overcome, and the lessons you learn.
It's about embracing the full spectrum of the experience, the highs and the lows, the triumphs and the setbacks.
And knowing that it's all part of what makes life so rich and meaningful.
Absolutely. Well said.
So as we wrap up this episode, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
Okay. What is it?
How will you approach your next big goal differently, knowing what you know now about Wonder Hell?
That's a great question. I hope our listeners will really take some time to reflect on that.
I hope so too, because when we embrace Wonder Hell and all that comes with it, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and remember, embrace the Wonder Hell.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Build Strong Habits. Let us know in the comments how you feel about it and what topics you'd love to hear next. Always remember, we're here to build strong habits together.